That study was our first study, but when we started looking at the plasma of advanced meditators right around the time COVID happened, and some of our first experiments that we did with the University of California, San Diego, we had all this plasma, and they closed the lab down and closed the university down, and the lab was minimized. But we had all this great plasma from advanced meditators, so there was a little bit of time, so we just started messing around with creating a pseudovirus like a SARS-CoV-2 virus. And we picked the first subject, and we did what's called an adoptive transfer. We used his plasma and put the pseudovirus near an ACE2 receptor, which would, what the spike virus attaches to. And we discovered that there was an immunity in the plasma of the advanced meditator where the virus could not enter the cell, like it was like stuck on the outside of the cell. We saw that in novice meditators, there were some that were stuck to the outside of the cell and others that made it into the cell. And then we saw with the controls that they all were in the cell. And so we went through a series of scientific experiments, and we isolated that it was a protein. And then we isolated the exact protein that the body and advanced meditators make, and it's called sharpen A5. And if you look online for sharpen A5, it'll tell you that it has a profound effect against the SARS-CoV-2 virus. And so the plasma of advanced meditators were naturally creating an elevated level of sharpen A5 that inhibited the virus from entering the cells. In other words, the body is greater than the environment. And so we've replicated the study a few times, and we see the same outcomes. We published a paper on it, and it's out there.
Wow, that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, we were super surprised. Yeah. We were really surprised when we saw
very surprising. Yeah. It's mind-blowing to think about that being possible, but I guess it shouldn't be. It's just that we haven't really accessed the true powers of the body and the mind, and we're almost unaware. We always hear that quote of like, you only use 10% of your brain or whatever it is. What has your research found of like how much we're not tapping into the ability that we have?
Well, they used to call this pseudoscience, and I can tell you now, you can't call it pseudoscience. This is what our data suggests.